11 now, though. Next this morning. Perhaps it's because we're one of England's landlocked counties and hanker for the sea, maybe, or maybe it's because the bravery of the crew is just so inspirational. But who can say for sure? One thing is certain, here in Leicestershire we love our lifeboats. The people of Leicester have now funded 12 boats in all since 1845, incredibly, and they've been stationed in locations all around the coast, from Skegness, of course, aka Leicester-on-Sea, to Runswick and Tobermory. Well, the crews who've served on these impressive vessels have saved well over 1,000 lives in that time and continue to inspire and educate people both about the beauty and the dangers of life at sea. Well, the RNLI lifeboat Leicester Challenge 2 is stationed at Redcar near Middlesbrough at the moment. It's a good 160 miles to our north and east, and its crew members need to pull on all their resources every time they launch, often into extreme conditions and life-threatening situations. But every now and then, a rescue arises that is truly exceptional. Let me just paint the picture for you for a moment. It was 3:42 on the 24th of October last year in the afternoon. Humber Coast Guard requested the launch of the Redcar lifeboat following a report of a person washed off the Southgare breakwater. Well, the lifeboat launched just 10 minutes later and was on the scene within 4 minutes. Helmsman Mike Picknett was in command with crewmen Reeves and Nags, and the casualty at the time was close to the breakwater, face down in the water with a force 6 easterly wind and a swell of 3 to 4 metres. Can you imagine the waves thrashing around as a result? So, of course, there was a real risk that the lifeboat would be dashed against the breakwater at the time, but thanks to the great seamanship and judgment of Helmsman Picknett, he was able to manoeuvre the lifeboat alongside the casualty, and at the first attempt the crew managed to fish the victim out of the water and get him on board safely. And as a result of that daring and dramatic rescue, the crew are to receive a special award and commendation, and I'm thrilled to be able to speak now to Helmsman Mike Picknett. Good morning, Mike.
Yes, good morning.
Did I paint a decent enough picture of the scene there?
You did. I mean, that's taken from the factual account that's submitted to the RNLI every time we do a rescue. We have to provide a report to the RNLI so they can keep track of the work that we're doing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I went some way to describing the scene, but I mean, that was by no means the full picture, was it? Because I think there were a couple of other boats ready to support you and a helicopter all on the scene, but it was your specific work that managed to save this one life.
Yes, I mean, I must say from the outset that unfortunately Mr. Ellaby, the guy that was washed into the water, didn't survive.
Oh, I beg your pardon, I didn't realise that.
He died later in hospital, but of course, at the time our job is to get him into the boat as quickly as we can, and we did so. And yes, as you say, there were 2 lifeboats from Hartlepool that were also launched to help us with that incident. Geographically, the Southgare is closer to Redcar, and therefore we were there fairly quickly. And the guy was in probably the most awkward place he could be from our point of view, because he was close to the shore and very close to the Southgare, which is a quite a large piece of land that juts out into the sea with a lighthouse on the end of it, and it's not just a pier or a jetty as some people might imagine. And of course, up at the side of that there's a lot of underwater obstructions, and the sea was breaking right up onto the top of that, which was where he had been fishing from, and took him off his feet and washed him into the water.
So when you say underwater obstructions, what sort of thing are you talking about? Rocks, obviously, and
yeah, there's some rocks, and then the actual concrete construction of the Southgare jetty itself is made of concrete blocks that are probably 5 and 6 metres square, and so they're all placed down the side of it to protect it from the weather.
See, what's staggering to me, Mike, I mean, I love being on the water, and I've been at the helm of various different vessels in my time. Nothing anywhere near as impressive as the one we're talking about here. But with these particular conditions, certainly this extreme, the swell of the water, the strength of the wind and the currents, etc., how on earth do you go about controlling a vessel under that kind of pressure? It's staggering to me.
Well, the RNLI, of course, provide us with the best boats that they can. They also provide us with the best training that they can. And then from an individual point of view, all of my life I've been involved in the sea. As a fisherman, my father was a fisherman, and I came up through the fishing industry. And so to me, I've spent all my life at sea, and of course with the RNLI equipment, the boats and the training, that just tops it off. But to be right, as you said, getting in close into the shore in those surf conditions with that wind, It's just a matter of putting your training into practice, making sure you keep the head of the boat into the swell so that you look after yourself, and then get the boat in the position you need to recover the casualty.
Just describe to me how manoeuvrable these boats are, just so you and me can be geeky for a minute. I mean, the thrust you must have available, the touch of your finger almost, must be pretty impressive to be able to manoeuvre a boat in those conditions.
Well, the twin-engine boat, and so therefore you can sort of fairly quickly turn it almost within its own length. The trick in surf, of course, is to run into where you need to be on the back of the wave, so you've got maximum distance between you and the wave that's behind you, which gives us enough room to turn the boat around and then remain head to sea and stem the next wave up. For someone who doesn't know anything about the sea, if they can imagine standing on their driveway and looking up at the sill of their bedroom window, that's probably about the wave height that we were working in terms of surf. And the guy was in the water in that surf, and so the trick is to get through one wave and drop into the trough next to the casualty so that you can get hold of him into the boat before the next wave comes, which is not, there's everybody in the RNLI who drives lifeboats are more than capable of achieving that. That's something we practice and train for with all of our volunteers on a regular basis.
Okay. Well, it's staggering to my mind, Mike. It really is. Now, of course, you had the one casualty to deal with. The last thing you wanted to do was create more, and obviously your crew, you had 2 on board with you as well, and there were support vessels. You're mindful of that as well at all times, as well as obviously the very best effort to retrieve the victim as soon as possible, aren't you?
Absolutely. Team effort. It's never about one person. The whole crew, and not just the crew that were in the boat that day. There's the other crew at the station who weren't in the lifeboat that time. You've got your tractor drivers who launched the boat, so the whole team pulled together to achieve that. And then, of course, we had the police helicopter on scene that was helping us out with locating the casualty, and then the other lifeboats which were tasked to that incident with it being so serious that we knew for certain there was somebody in the water. Once we'd recovered him and we knew that we were going to have to perform CPR, for anybody that's done it, they'll realise that is a very, very tiring thing to do for an extended period of time. We ended up resuscitating this guy for about 40 minutes before we could get to a place where he could be taken off us and flown to hospital. And so we needed the assistance of the crew from the Hartlepool lifeboat to relieve our own crew, because after 5 minutes of resus, then you do need to change around.
You know about it, that's right. How important then, I mean, you're up in Redcar, obviously, how important is the support of the people of Leicestershire to the work that you do?
Absolutely massive. Nobody should underestimate, no matter how small a donation or how small they may consider, something they've done in raising money for RNLI is. Leicester's supported Redcar for 20 odd years now, and I've been to Leicester many times myself and on their flag days and helped them collect, and I've been to some of the annual dues they used to run at the cricket ground in Leicester to help raise funds and raise awareness and talk to people about the work of the RNLI. And
did they tell you what it is about your work that they find so inspiring?
You get feedback off people who clearly the RNLI is a nationally recognised charity, and everybody knows what it does and what it stands for. Quite why Leicester is such an excellent area for raising money, I'm not sure whether there's a significant number of people I think who sail on Rutland Water and various other places around the Midlands, so perhaps that's some sort of driver for them to raise money for the RNLI. But I would say to everybody that listens to your show and raises money for the RNLI, don't stop. We do in these austere times now. The more money that we can raise, the better.
I've got to ask, Mike, if you ever envisage a time when the work of the RNLI will actually become a proper state-funded emergency service as opposed to the charity it's been all these years.
I shouldn't imagine so. I think that without being political, the driver behind it is that the RNLI are responsible for themselves, for what they do, and that of course once you accept funding from other sources, wherever that comes from, the people who are providing that money want to have some influence over how that might be spent. And I would suggest that's probably the greatest driver for why they would want to remain completely independent as a charity, with volunteers to deliver that service.
Now, obviously, you're to be commended for your bravery on this particular occasion, along with your crew on the day, Mike. I mean, I guess you kind of take it in your stride, really, although you're an absolute hero to all of us. How do you feel about receiving the award?
I mean, clearly, I'm proud to be recognised by the RNLI for the work that we've done. It's bittersweet in some respects that unfortunately Mr. Ellaby didn't survive, and of course we have remained in contact with his family, and they're actively raising money for our station as we speak. But yeah, proud to be recognised. I mean, I've been on the lifeboat crew for 27 years now, and so I'm well used to doing the job. But as I've said, yeah, proud for myself and for the whole team to be recognised for a rescue.
What form does the award come in? Do you know?
It's the award itself is actually called the Thanks of the Institution inscribed on vellum. Effectively, that's a certificate that has an inscription on of the service and the fact that the RNLI have officially recorded their thanks for the service that was carried out. In terms of where it sits, the RNLI have the medals that they award for gallantry. They have a gold, silver and bronze. Sitting underneath the medal sanction is the vellum, so it's the fourth highest gallantry award that the RNLI can make.
Well, Mike, I'm being ever so selfish with your time, frankly, because I could talk to you for hours, but I've got to say thank you very much indeed for joining me today, and all power to you and your crew up there for the continued good work that you do. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
All the best. Helmsman Mike Picknett. And if you'd like to donate to the RNLI, please do visit their website, rnli.org.uk, and there you'll find out a great deal more about Leicestershire's involvement in the RNLI, the boats that have been funding, including the Leicester Tiger, which I think is used on relief work at the moment. You may well have seen the boat back in November 2010. Monica was down there, I think, broadcasting live when the boat was in the city centre, and it's now used in relief work when other boats are being serviced. The Leicester Tiger goes in and does the necessary relief work. But I mean, it's astonishing the amount that the people of Leicestershire have donated to the RNLI over the years, and I know, as you've heard from Mike himself, that they are incredibly grateful. 11:21 now.
A passion for Leicestershire.
BBC Radio Leicester.